Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The storm over Tamil Nadu Minister Senthil Balaji escalated last night after Governor RN Ravi decided to dismiss him from the Tamil Nadu cabinet. But just 5 hours later, the order was kept in abeyance as the governor wanted to seek some legal opinion from the Attorney General. The damage, though, was already done. Soon a political war broke out and DMK leaders went all guns blazing against the governor. Chief Minister MK Stalin lashed out and said that governor does not have the right to dismiss his minister and his government will proceed legally in the matter. DMK's allies, Congress, also claimed vendetta by the centre. However, BJP Tamil Nadu chief K. Annamalai defended the move by the governor and reminded Stalin that in 2018 he asked then Governor Banwarilal Purohit to fire an AIA DMK minister if he doesn't quit on his own after raids by the CBI. Even AIA DMK targeted Stalin and his party for alleged double standard. Senthil Balaji was arrested, remember, on June 14 and is currently in jail in connection with cash for jobs scam during his tenure as Transport Minister from 2011 to 2015. However, despite serious allegations, Chief Minister Stalin has decided to retain him as a minister without portfolio, a decision that Governor Ravi decided to unilaterally override. If you look at other states, there are many leaders who've been lodged in jail and their respective CMs decided to either retain them or sack them. But when they did decide to sack them, that decision, be it in Bengal or Delhi, came from the Chief Minister and not the governor. So the question here clearly is, if the Tamil Nadu governor went beyond his powers as he tried to sack Senthil Balaji, we'll take that question to our guests in just a bit. First, let's take a look at the timeline of events yesterday. Last evening, almost exactly 24 hours ago, Tamil Nadu governor announced the sacking of Senthil Balaji. He wrote a 5-page letter to the chief minister and said that despite serious charges, the chief minister ignored governor's advice to sack the minister. Soon after, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin said that they will take a legal route against the governor's decision. But by 11:20 p.m. last night, Governor Ravi decided to seek legal opinion from the Attorney General. But this came as 12 a.m. midnight. Governor informed the Chief Minister that the dismissal order is now kept in abeyance, and this decision was taken after Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to the governor. The Chief Minister since then has announced that Senthil will indeed continue as a minister without portfolio. But does the governor really have the powers to sack a minister? That's the billion-dollar question. Article 164(1) states that ministers shall hold office during, quote, the pleasure of the governor. But Article 164(1) also states that the governor can appoint a minister only on the recommendation of the chief minister. What does the Constitution say on the governor's role? He is head of the state's executive power and barring some matters, he acts on the advice of the Council of Ministers. But it also says clearly the governor's pleasure, which I mentioned earlier, continues in the constitutional sense as long as the government enjoys a majority. The matter becomes clearer when you look at the judgments by the Supreme Court on the powers of the governor. In Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab in 1974, the top court stated that the president and governor shall exercise their powers in accordance with the advice of ministers. However, there can be a few well-known exceptional situations according to the apex court. These situations may arise if the Prime Minister or the Chief Minister concerned cease to command majority in the House. The Supreme Court also stated that the President or Governor should avoid getting into the politics of the state. In Nabam Rebia versus Arunachal Pradesh Deputy Speaker case of 2016, the Supreme Court said the Governor has no function which he or she can discharge by himself. The apex court also observed that the Governor, though, has certain duties to perform and the House will do well to bear in mind this distinction. We'll get you some clarity on whether the governor really had powers to make this decision or not. Many legal experts are joining us in just a bit, and that's a big debate. Did Governor Ravi go beyond his powers and overplay his hand this time?
the opinion of the Home Ministry, or whether Home Ministry had instructed him or he sought the opinion of the Home Ministry, we must know. If he had sought the opinion of the Home Ministry, then he is a misfit to be a governor.
ये तो मैं कंडम करता हूँ। DMK को सताने के लिए, स्टालिन के गवर्नमेंट को डिस्टेबलाइज करने के लिए ये पूरी कोशिश चल रही है।
The whole of Tamil Nadu knows Mr. Senthil Balaji is a corrupt minister. It is the bounden duty of Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to keep his cabinet neat and clean, which is not doing it.
We've been saying that Mr. Stalin is the most incompetent CM Tamil Nadu has ever witnessed, and his actions are proving the same.
Let's go across to the guest joining us. Aman Lekhi is senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India and former additional Solicitor General of India. Vinod P. Selvam is BJP spokesperson. R. Rajagopalan is a senior journalist. Salim Dharanidharan is from the DMK. And C.B. Pandey is former legal advisor to the governor of Uttar Pradesh. I want to go across to Aman Lekhi first up, former assistant solicitor general. Now, the governor has announced that he will take the opinion of the Attorney General as far as this decision to sack the cabinet minister is concerned. What do you think the advice of the Attorney General will be? Does the governor have the power to sack a minister?
No, absolutely not. It's a constitutionally imprudent act unbecoming of the governor. Our constitution doesn't in any way permit parallel administration, and as far as the role of the governor is concerned, his involvement in the affairs has been nominal, the real executive being the Council of Ministers. The constitution is absolutely emphatic. When you look at the constitution, insofar as the governor is concerned, he has to act. The constitution, in fact, the Article 154 itself stipulates that he has to act in accordance with the constitution. When you talk about in accordance with the constitution and we talk about the entitlement for minister to continue, there are certain qualifications and disqualifications in the constitution itself, which are manifest in 173 and 191 of the constitution. So the particular person doesn't in fact suffer the disqualification, nor is he in any case in a position where anyone can legitimately allege, notwithstanding the criminal case, that he lacks qualifications. Insofar as the reason which he has given, that prerogative, as unlimited prerogative, is unknown to the Constitution. It is subject to law, has to be exercised in accordance with the terms, and the entitlement that the governor has claimed for himself is something which is completely unknown to the Constitution.
All right.
For him to take the opinion of the Attorney General after having dismissed it itself shows that how completely out of form this entire conduct is. And a step as unprecedented as this, a step as extreme as this, a step as impermissible in the settled constitutional scheme, colliding as it does with the absolutely established constitutional precepts, ought to have been preceded by adequate deliberation. And had it been so preceded, we would not have faced this so unseemly and improper situation which we are seeing today.
All right. I think you've made it quite clear as far as the powers of the governor are concerned. But let me also ask you this follow-up. The governor maintains that he has already advised the chief minister to sack this said minister, and there were certain reasons for it, the minister's history and conduct. He feared that there cannot be a proper investigation as long as he continues to be a minister. Would you say that it is also incumbent on the chief minister to at least consider the governor's request in such matters, or provide answers as to why he's not sacking the said minister?
You see, as far as the interaction with the governor and chief minister is concerned, that moves in the realm of constitutional propriety and brings in question of constitutional morality. Ideally speaking, a person with criminal antecedents should not be in the Council of Ministers. The point is, unfortunately, the way in which our constitutional scheme is devised, merely because there is an accusation of criminal conduct against a particular person, doesn't in any way disqualify him. For disqualification, it has to be one under the Representation of People Act, or which entails conviction, or other grounds which are stipulated in the Constitution itself. No matter how reprehensible it might seem that a person against whom such accusations have been made continues to be in the Council of Ministers, there is no bar in the Constitution from his so continuing, the matter being one in the realm of the conscience of the Chief Minister in this particular case, and his alignment with the sense of propriety. But the legality of it is completely not open to doubt. And as far as the governor is concerned, the governor is so keen to uphold the law. The governor should also be aware of the limits on his own power. And while purporting to enforce the law, he should not violate the law himself because he is sworn to act in terms of it. The Constitution contains limits. It sets out the constraints and specifies the area within which the constitutional functionaries must act, and the actions of the governor are in clear transgression of those limits.
All right. So there is the political aspect. There's, of course, the legal aspect. Aman Lekhi, I do thank you for joining us. And, of course, he's made the legal argument very, very clear. And possibly that is why the Tamil Nadu governor, Mr. Ravi, has had to rescind his order, has had to re-look at it. Let me take this debate forward with our other guests. On that note, let me go across to our BJP representative. You know, this only strengthens the DMK's argument that the governor is motivated against the current government. There was no need for the governor to act in this manner when he clearly did not have those powers.
Ma'am, let me make this very clear on the show that the BJP is not the spokesperson of the Raj Bhavan. Unfortunately, it is a very shameful to note that even after so many allegations have been mounted against a said minister, after coming to light that he has swindled crores of money with the promise of offering jobs in the government transport department, especially where he was minister, the chief minister has failed to act. Now, there is not one person. The reason I understand,
I'll get to that in just a bit. I'll get to the case in just a bit, Vinodji. But, you know, the reason I ask you this question is because you've come out supporting the governor's actions.
We have not nowhere where we come out supporting the governor's actions. We are saying that Senthil Balaji should be dismissed. We are not getting into the dispute or the legal angle of whether what he has done is right or wrong. But we are of the stand that Senthil Balaji should be dismissed and he should face law as a common man after having such serious allegations leveled against him. Especially after the Supreme Court itself has come down heavily and said cases should be, the trial should be conducted against the conduct of Senthil Balaji. It is the duty of the Chief Minister to make sure that he has been asked to leave the ministry. But what have you done? 37 ministers go and sit in the government hospital at 2 a.m. in the midnight to save one man who the Chief Minister himself called corrupt. No one else. He was, in fact, the first person in 2016 who came out so heavily on Senthil Balaji, calling him corrupt. But it is very unfortunate that none of these ministers ever came out of their residence at 1 a.m. in the night for the sake of the 7 crore people of Tamil Nadu. But for one man, Senthil Balaji, the entire cabinet of ministers sat the entire night to save him.
This is not
so who are you trying to save? Or what are you trying to save?
This is not to go into the merit of the charges against Senthil Balaji. And I discussed that on the day that his arrest was made. This is indeed a very curious case, politically and legally. Politically, the DMK has in the past attacked this very same minister when he was in the AIA DMK, Mr. Stalin himself. And then legally, there are many points in this case where he received extraordinary relief by the High Court. But the Supreme Court had to step in at various points to ensure that the man is held accountable for his alleged crimes. But let me also stick to the issue of the governor today. I'll go to the DMK representative in just a bit. C.B. Pandey is former legal advisor to the governor of Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Pandey, do you believe the governor was misinformed or misadvised in this case that he could sack a minister despite the chief minister not agreeing to it?
This is a peculiar case. And so far as the general law is concerned, as per Article 164(1), the governor has no discretionary power. Though he has to act on the aid and advise of the Council of Ministers. This is general principle. And there is no dispute with regard to this law settled by the Supreme Court, as you mentioned, in different, some say in case and later Deputy Speaker case and all that. So though there is no discretionary power of the governor to act in such matter in the point, but at the same time, chief in the number of cases, it is not a bar. There is no bar to exercise the discretionary power as far as, for example, appointment of chief minister. the appointment of chief minister, in the case of appointment of chief minister, governor exercises a discretionary power.
True.
It not act on the council of ministers. That is one exception. Like that, there are other exceptions also. Here in this particular case, if I am talking about this particular case, so far general law is concerned, a governor has no power to dismiss a minister or to dismiss a chief minister. He has no power. But this area, in this particular situation, this issue has never been discussed before a Supreme Court or High Court, that in such situation where a man who is a criminal, who has been involved in so many criminal cases, or who has been committing some crime. Suppose he had committed some murder. It's a corruption case, but suppose he has committed murder, and governor advised the chief minister to dismiss him, and he is not the chief minister doesn't care about the governor's advice. So in that situation, whether the constitution is will be interpreted in a manner that no, he will continue even as a murderer in the cabinet. In the Council of Ministers.
No, but that's the, I mean, whether we like it or not. Mr. Pandit, I asked exactly that question to Aman Lekhi earlier, and, you know, he said that whether we like it or not, propriety-wise, obviously somebody with such charges should not continue to be a minister, even without portfolio. But there is no legal bar. And certainly the governor does not have the powers to ask the chief minister to sack that minister.
That is what I am saying. In certain cases, in the Uttar Pradesh, I know one of the example. The Mulayam Singh was the chief minister, and Mayawati at that time, there was large violence against the Mayawati, who was to be appointed as the chief minister, and the governor dismissed the Mulayam Singh without directing for any floor test or something else.
Yeah.
So he straightway dismissed the chief minister, and that was not challenged before any court.
Yeah, I understand that, sir. There is indeed, as I said at the start of the show,
because he is not having majority.
No, exactly. I said this at the start of the show as we explained the powers of the governor. When it comes to deciding who should be the chief minister or whether the current government exercises majority or not, the governor indeed has discretionary powers. But not so much in deciding who should be the minister and whether a minister should continue or not.
The whole right. That is why I am saying. That's why I am saying that this issue has not been interpreted by the Supreme Court in the situation where a person who is a minister, though the Supreme Court has said that he has no discretionary power, but he has not said that he absolutely has no power, discretionary power. In some cases, he has to exercise the discretion. But now, in this particular case, whether he can exercise discretion or not, this has to be
possibly looked into. Okay, I don't know whether this matter will go to court anymore, because it seems like the governor himself has, rescinded his order at least partially or kept it in abeyance. So that brings me to Salem Daradanaran. The allegation against your government is that, you're insisting on keeping this minister in the cabinet. And also the allegation of double speak, where you yourself asked a former governor to sack a minister on charges of corruption. If you made that demand then, you certainly must have believed the governor has that power.
No. We wanted the governor to pressurize on sacking the corrupt minister. See, the constitution makes it very, very clear, right? The constitutional bench of the Supreme Court, as recent as Justice Nehal Nageshwar Rao and Perelvan case, had told that governors are nothing but shorthand expression of the State Council of Ministers. The first and foremost, how does the democracy work in this country? People elect their representative, that is the MLAs. The MLAs in turn select a chief minister, and the chief minister who has the majority confidence of the MLAs is invited by the governor to form the government, and the chief minister is installed as chief minister by the governor, and then based on the advice of the chief minister, ministers are appointed. Agreed that the ministers stay as ministers based on the pleasure of the governor. But where does the governor get his pleasure from? He gets his pleasure from the State Council of Ministers represented by the Chief Minister.
But answer the political question. Why are you seeking to keep this minister who's in ED custody and has serious charges against him in the cabinet without a portfolio? What political grandstanding are you doing?
So why did Honorable now Prime Minister Modi, when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, keep Amit Shah as a minister when he was facing jail term for a murder case? Of course, he was acquitted, but then he was not. He was arrested by CBI. Why did Modi keep him? See, the prerogative lies with the with my Chief Minister. and he has chosen to keep him as a minister without portfolio.
But you asked the previous government for their minister to be sacked on the charges of corruption.
So, has it been proved? The court will decide is corrupt or not.
It wasn't proved then either. Doesn't it show double speak on your part?
Yeah, I'm saying the matter is sub judice.
Right.
Why go into matter that is sub judice? And this will set a bad precedent. Why we are protesting is this will set a bad precedent. I'll tell you why. You'll have to listen. Because Enforcement Directorate is behaving like an arm of the BJP party. The number of cases filed by Enforcement Directorate increased by 10 times in the last 10 years. And the conviction rate is 0.05%.
No, I'm not sure in this case that argument makes sense. One second. I'm not sure in this case this argument makes sense.
Very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah.
I want to complete this. So, Mukul Roy from from TMC facing ED or CBI, arrested, joins BJP, the charges are dropped. Again, he goes back, charges come. So, which means...
I get your point. We've discussed that at many occasions. Like I said, I'm not sure these arguments stand in this case because the case pertains to well before your government came to power. This minister has been in dock and under investigation when he was previously in a different party. The period is also mostly before the BJP government came to power at the center. This minister has been asked to be probed by the Supreme Court of India. Despite the fact that the High Court gave orders like you can start a probe afresh but don't go back into any of the evidences previously. This minister went to court saying, I've given back the money that I took from job aspirants. So now we've come to an agreement. The High Court apparently even accepted it. It was later challenged. This case is not normal. Like charges that have just come in and investigations that are carrying on. This is a well-established case where the Supreme Court said that if the officers don't investigate, we will appoint an officer to investigate this man. So please don't pin this on the agencies alone. I don't think it matters in this case. But yes, Mr. Vinod wanted to come in very quickly. I have to go to R. Rajagopalan as well.
No, see, you don't get me enough time. Can I speak? I think you were speaking, so I couldn't even make my point. So it'd be nice if I can make my point across. Can I?
Yeah, please take 30 seconds more.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, this Senthil Balaji, this particular case, DMK has nothing to do with it. This is what been my stand. My leader stand also, when he joined the party itself, he said, we have nothing to do with the case. But the point is how ED is behaving. If this is allowed, what will happen is, ED will go and randomly arrest opposition leaders and then governors will sack them.
Okay, right? I don't think the word randomly is appropriate here. No, I don't think the word randomly is appropriate here. That's exactly what I established. You made your point. You made your point. Let me go across to Vinod Selvam. 30 seconds, please. You wanted to object, and then I go to R. Rajagopalan.
No, my good friend Dharni Salom has been speaking all this, but in this entire 2 minutes which he spoke, he was not able to say that Senthil Balaji is not a corrupt man and he is not to be blamed. No, they cannot do that because it is your same chief minister.
I'm saying the court will decide. It's a matter that is sub judice.
2018 had come out and said the Vijay Bhaskar, the ADMK minister, the tainted ADMK minister who had Gurkha charges against him, should be dismissed from the government by the same governor who they are talking about today. So then you felt that he had the constitutional authority to dismiss a minister. So in 2018 you had a version. Now you have a different version. Not only that, you went to the extent of saying that the chief minister and the deputy chief minister should also be sacked. So you wanted the entire government to resign. You wanted the government to resign entirely in 2018 and you felt that the same governor has authority to do that. You wanted the governor to safeguard the state. Today what happened? Today when the governor did something on that sort, you have all the problems in the world. In 2018, did the chief minister tweet this or not? I have the tweet with me. Did he tweet this or not? He tweeted this. He gave a statement saying Vijay Bhaskar should be sacked, the CM should resign, the deputy CM should resign. He said this. So, MK Stalin 1.0.
See.
One second. I have to cut out of this. One second. You had your opportunity to explain yourself. R. Rajagopalan hasn't spoken. Let me go across to him. R. Rajagopalan and me.
Something wrong.
Mr. Rajagopalan, my question to you as someone who watches Tamil Nadu politics very closely is, did the governor overplay his hand? And will this eventually end up straining the governor versus the government relationship further? But in this case, ending up embarrassing the governor's house.
Shivani, in Tamil Nadu, you must know, the DMK's official organ, Moraswali, daily in and out, heckling Mr. RN Ravi. RN Ravi is forced to have this type of reactions. RN Ravi is the governor of Tamil Nadu, is faced with three conditions: medical, political, legal. Now, ADMK represented to the governor, BJP represented to the governor about Senthil Balaji. Why the DMK is so sacrosanct of the Senthil Balaji? He is a party hopper. 5 parties he has shifted. Why should DMK go after? Because there is a fact to that. As you exactly cornered the DMK spokesperson, the DMK spokesperson did not reply to you properly. It is a Supreme Court monitored case, nothing to do with the enforcement directorate. So therefore,
Supreme Court,
coming, wait, I did not speak in front.
Let him finish. Mr. Dharan, let him finish.
I did not interfere when you spoke, Mr. Dharan. Behave properly in the national debate. My understanding is DMK is having some sort of affection towards the Senthil Balaji because there is another minister in Tamil Nadu government who spoke on phone about 30 crores scam by the son and son-in-law, and that is interconnected. There is another case before the ED investigating the tape record and the conversation between Pete Thiagarajan and a journalist. So therefore, it is all intertwined.
Okay.
My understanding, governor has powers to seek the dismissal of this minister. Since CM did not do that, governor acted upon that.
Okay, but the very fact that Home Minister Amit Shah speaks to him and then the governor puts his order in abeyance shows that even the BJP is not very comfortable with what transpired. That's the question I'm asking you politically.
Politically, yes, you are right. Absolutely, you are right. Unless there is UCC coming up before this parliament and G20 is coming before in September, Prime Minister does not want any sort of legal things before these two incidents happen.
Okay.
Two major issues resolved. That is why the advice of the Prime Minister, Mr. Home Minister Amit Shah, asked the governor to do this, to seek a legal opinion. Yes, it is political. Yes, it is embarrassing DMK. But my understanding is it is much more embarrassing MK Stalin, the Chief Minister, not the BJP. Because why should Mr. MK Stalin so sacrosanct about this particular minister?
Well, that's a question they'll continue to face. That's a question they will continue to face. And of course, that question will not be erased by the fact that this has transpired. I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us.